Mafia ties, the Italian mob. What can we learn? What do we know? As I take you back in time, I will always make the lessons known because we can learn a lot from those that came before us, going by certain codes and morals that make you the man that you are supposed to be, or the man that you are.
What's up, y'all? So I just want to address things as they come. What's up, everybody? It's your girl B Octavia, and I am back with another video. Welcome to a whole new day, and with it being a whole new day, we will get into a new series that I am starting. This is Mafia Ties, the introduction. If you do not know me, I'm an entrepreneur from Washington, D.C. I have my own business called Crush On You Beauty. It is skincare and cosmetics. And I'm also a mother of a almost 4-year-old. Now, in this introduction, I want to tell you what the Mafia Ties series will be about. I also will tell you why I'm doing this series. The next video on Mafia Ties will be episode 1. In the Mafia Ties series, I will be giving you my perspective of Italian street legends that can be linked to the Italian mob, or the Mafia, as they say. And most of them are Italian, but we will be getting into street legends of New York, Chicago, Detroit, etc. that can be linked back to the mob. Some are Irish, some are Caucasian, but we will be getting into these men, how they are linked. John Dillinger comes to mind when I talk about this because he is not linked to the mob, but I will be talking about John Dillinger and people like John Dillinger that are street legends. I don't want people to think of street legends as just Grateful Edmond, Alpo, and people like this when we have John Dillinger, we have Sammy the Bull, we have John Gotti. It's so many other names that come to mind for me when you talk about street legends as a whole. I don't want people to just get into the way of thinking that black people are only categorized as street legends. There are a lot of men out here that have done deeds in the streets of the East Coast, especially the Midwest too, and I don't want to leave nobody out. All of their stories are important. So these gangsters have done the worst of the worst. But when I speak on the Italian mob, a lot of it was controlled under organized crime, and very strategic organized crime. There are like very evident differences to me of how the Italian mafia chose to move back in the day versus how we in these urban communities have chosen to move, you know, we as African Americans. And I want to speak on the mob because it is certain morals that I do respect. I do respect rules that everybody involved should go by. And if you don't go by those rules, you will be handled. Not everybody get killed, but we're going to talk about that too. Street legends are street legends no matter the race. And that's what I really wanted to say with saying all of that. These scenarios, these men have been involved in very complex crimes. Murder. It was very up close and personal. Walking down on their prey, making sure that they get the right person. Hog tying and torturing their victims. Extortion. The mob would mainly go after the big fishes, big businesses like construction companies. Go right to the owner, and say their proposal of how they want things to go. And so it was a lot of intimidation when it came to their extortion tactics. A lot of businesses after a while would just cave into their demands, because if you are leading by example and you fight back against what they want to happen, you'll end up like the last business, The Italian mob was founded in 1869. A lot of us can't even think about what those times was like, but this organization has been around since before your fathers, before their fathers, and so on and so forth. And they have carried on these morals and codes and ethics all the way up to, I believe it was the 90s. A lot of people don't talk about the mob being such a huge organization anymore, and we'll get into why that happened. As far as the decline of the criminal organization known as the mob, what a lot of people don't know, and I mean, some movies show the dynamics of how made men are supposed to move, but some don't. I want to say, like, a lot of shows, they would get you confused on how the mob actually works. A lot of people think, oh, of course you got a boss, but it's like any job, where if you doing your job, you don't have to keep coming to the boss, and saying this and saying that. Well, in the mafia, in the mob, you have to get approval from your boss on any move that you want to make. You have to. And guess what? If your boss say, no, that's not going to happen, you can't do it. If you want to get retaliation and it's a personal thing, you still got to go to the boss. If you don't, and somebody else knows about your plan, or somebody else figures out your plan and they go to the boss first, you will be killed. So you have to go to your boss. And I'm saying your boss because there are 5 different bosses in the mob. Okay, I will be putting those names up on the screen, and we will go down the list and talk about the families that they are associated with and their history in the mob. And if you realize, the organization, the Mafia, is often referred to by its members as Cosa Nostra, and by the government it is referred to as La Costa Nostra. Excuse me if it's like if you didn't take Spanish, or you don't know, like, you don't know the Italian language or nothing like that, when you say it, it's just like one of them things that make me kind of feel awkward. So the founding locations of the mob are New York, Chicago, Detroit, Philly, New Orleans, and a few other cities on the East Coast. And the list of crimes are, to sum it up, because this is not all of them, but we will be reading them off right now. Corruption of police officials, police officers, judges, DEA agents, etc. Smuggling, and a lot of times now they call that trafficking, but it's even more dangerous, if you have drug mules. And I mean, that whole thing is very stressful to me, so I really wouldn't be into that, because you can die. But anyways, bribery, assault. Now, a part of extortion, I feel like extortion, intimidation, and assault are all hand in hand with the mob. Weapons trafficking, look, that speaks for itself, okay? Prostitution, loan sharking, theft, among other things. Now, something else that people might not know about the mob is you have to be of Italian descent. And what does that mean? Now, reports say, science says that your father's genes are the most dominant. So if you have a white woman and a Italian man and they have a son, their son can be accepted into the mob. It's not to say that he will be accepted, but he has a better chance than somebody who has two white parents, or a Spanish mother and a Spanish dad, or you get what I mean? They really, to me, it seems like they like to keep the bloodline of Italy, of the Italian bloodline thick, you know. And if your father is not Italian, and it's like the other way around, like your father white and your mother Italian, it's not to say that you can't participate with them, because they had a lot of, if not hundreds on hundreds of associates of the mob. So there are made men and there are associates. There are a lot of people who have came out in the recent years, you know, with talks that they were made men. And then it turns out that, you know, it was revealed that they were associates. You wasn't even that deep in it, you know. So it can get tricky, but it can only get tricky if you don't pay attention. I like rules. Like, certain rules I feel like humans need to go by. So the fact that they train themselves to follow certain guidelines is amazing. You know, and we seeing that during this pandemic, people can't even follow the rules of wearing a mask, or follow this or follow that. So just imagine, like, people's impulses are extremely fucked up, you know, to the point where they know the rules and still break them and expect nothing to happen to them, or no consequences. In the mob, it's not going like that. As I talk about different street legends within the Italian mob, there will be some that we come across that in history did not follow the rules. And we will discuss what happened to them. Some of them didn't get touched, just out of respect. But that respect is kind of on a short leash, you know. You can't keep giving your own people reasons. And that's a huge lesson that I take from it. You know, you can't keep giving people in general reasons to want you to be hurt, to want you to be down bad. You know, you can't keep giving people reasons. Those certain rules that I'm talking about is, of course, no ratting on no circumstance. You can't talk to the feds about nothing. As we see in history, that wasn't listened to, but those situations are very dynamic. Number two, you always gotta respect the boss. You can't talk out of turn. You can't talk down on your boss to another one of his workers and expect him not to talk to the boss about it. Like, and you can't see that as a double cross either. Like, what I respect about them, what I respect about the mob and the mafia in total is they had to discuss their issues. They had to. Yeah, it would come to blows sometimes, but they had to discuss their issues in front of the boss. Everything is discussed. Everything is out there. And the boss of the crime family that you belong to, he is considered the hierarchy. He is considered the Don. He is considered the person that you look up to as a person that's on a pedestal. There are 6 different ranks, 6 titles and positions within the mob. The boss and the underboss being the most important. There are soldiers, and like I told y'all, there are associates. There are advisors to the boss. But a main rule that was broken in the 90s with the Mafia was you're never really supposed to know who is the boss and who is the underboss. You're not supposed to know that. We will, of course, get into who ruined that. But I'm geared up, to be honest with you. I'm geared up to start to discuss different street legends and become more versatile here on my channel, and we're not going to leave anything out. With all of that being said, it's your girl B Octavia. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. The next video in this Mafia series will be episode 1, Sammy the Bull.